Okay, now move to page 112. We're going to listen about somebody's travelling around the world. Where would you like to go if you could go travelling around the world for a whole year? I'd like to go to America. I'd like to see Canada as well, and South America, Brazil, Mexico. I'd like to see the Grand Canyon, places like that. I've never been there, so New York as well. And then, yeah, I'd like to go back to England as well, if I can, and also see some of Europe and Russia. That's one place I would like to go. There's some beautiful architecture in Russia. And then hopefully I could come back to Indonesia and have a lot to talk about. So unfortunately we're all stuck at home and we can't really go many places right now, but let's pretend we can go travelling. Let's first of all listen to Sarah and her trip around the world.
Listening 97. Listen and read.
Travel blog. My year around the world. I'm Sarah. I'm 12 years old and this is my blog. We left Canada in January when Mom and Dad decided they wanted us to give up our lives in Canada and go traveling for a year. They said they wanted us to learn about lots of different things around the world by seeing them all. It was the start of a big adventure. On day 1, we flew to Delhi in India. What an amazing place! It was so busy and noisy. There were hundreds of rickshaws, motorbikes, and cars driving around, and people shouting and rushing everywhere. We spent a couple of days in Delhi and then went by train all the way down the coast to Kerala. The journey took 4 days, but it was so interesting to sit on the train and watch the sights out the window. We stopped in a fantastic town called Varkala. There were palm trees on the beach, white sand, and great sunshine. We sat on the beach for a few hours, and then we decided to do something really exciting. We went on an elephant ride. We traveled through the jungle and across rivers. It was so exciting. It was quite scary being so high up on an elephant, but it was still great fun. Unfortunately, my brother Dan hated it because he doesn't like heights. After Varkala, we spent a few days on a houseboat traveling down a river. We stopped once at a village and met a local family who invited us to eat with them. The food was traditional food from Kerala. It was quite spicy and full of different flavors. After that, the local children taught us a traditional Indian board game called caroms. We also did some fishing from the boat, and I caught my first fish. We cooked it, and it tasted great. We're going to spend a few more days in Kerala, and then we're going to Sri Lanka. I'll write an update on my blog again when I arrive there.
Okay, so Sarah and her family went to somewhere so different from Canada, India. So a very exotic country with fascinating history and architecture. So the family are travelling for a whole year. That's a long time to travel. I wonder if they will get a little bit bored with it. They might have some difficulties, miss a few planes or things like that, have some problems. You're going to travel a whole year, and it's going to take a bit of money as well, isn't it? So they must have saved up a long time for this. The family travelled by plane to India. Okay, is that true? Well, you'd expect so. Yes, that's true, yeah. It's a long way from Canada. Plane definitely is the best option. The train journey to Kerala took a week. Was that true? False. It didn't take a week. It took 4 days. Did Dan enjoy the elephant ride? Have you ever had an elephant ride? They're not actually that comfortable. They're a little bit, I don't know, you're high up and you don't always feel that comfortable. So he didn't enjoy the elephant ride. The family spent 1 day in a houseboat. No, they didn't spend 1 day in a houseboat. I'm not sure how many days they spent. Let me have a... They've spent a few days on the houseboat. Okay, and then the last question. The last question there. Some children taught them a new game. I think I heard it mention a game that they played, a traditional Indian game, so that's true. Okay, if you look at page 113, you can see there's a task about the vocabulary we saw in the blog. So most of the vocabulary you might already know. We've got give up, which is a phrasal verb. So that's usually when you quit, you give up, you don't want to try anymore. Rickshaw. A rickshaw is a bechak, basically. It's what they call them in India. Rush, when you do something too fast. Scary or frightening is a synonym for scary. Unfortunately, so the opposite of fortunately, when something goes wrong. Spicy. Indian food is known for being very spicy, and flavours. It has a lot of flavours in the food. They add a lot of spice. It's very delicious. Okay, I'm playing a board game with my brother. The first one's already done. So perhaps in this lockdown you can play a few board games with your family. Scrabble, Monopoly, or Chinese checkers is another good one. My favourite ice cream. So what's the missing word there? There's a bit of a clue. Yeah, flavours are chocolate and strawberry. My favourite one is vanilla, but there you go. Okay, we went to the beach, but the weather... What's the missing word there? There's a bit of a clue. Unfortunately, the weather was bad. So that's often a problem in England. When people go to the beach, they get bad weather. So that's why a lot of people from England go on holiday to Spain. Then they usually get really nice weather. I didn't like the funfair ride. It was too... It's a bit of a clue. Too scary. Yeah, perhaps it was the ghost train or something like that, or an extreme roller coaster. I don't know if this is true for you. A lot of people in Indonesia love spicy food. Perhaps people from Manado or Padang. And then this one, I travelled in a... I travelled in a rickshaw when I was in China. I think you still get them there in some places, perhaps more now for tourists. I'm going to... give up chocolate. So here, give up means stop doing something because it's a bad habit. Yeah, it's not exactly quitting, but I'm going to give up chocolate. I eat too much. So have you eaten too much of a certain food in the holiday, got a little bit fat. So sugary food like donuts, it's easy to eat too much when we're just stuck at home. Okay, the last one, there's only one left. Don't rush, it needs to be done carefully.